Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time watching, hi, my name is Anushka. I also go by Eternal Honesty on this channel. If you are new, please make sure you go ahead and like and subscribe so you do not miss the next time that I do post. I will be talking about all things nursing school, how I did, talking about my experience with clinicals, my classes, and at the very end I will be doing a grade reveal, letting you guys know what I got for each of my classes and my overall GPA so far. I had 5 classes, 3 were fully in person, 1 was remote, and the other one was asynchronous. So when I say asynchronous, that means we didn't have like a set time to meet, and we were just given assignments that we had to complete within like a 1-week period, which will open every single week. So it will open like Wednesday morning this week, and then the following week those assignments would have been closed. You can't access it anymore, so there was no way you could submit anything late, and then the new week would open up. So that's how my asynchronous class went. That was my research class, officially titled Evidence-Based Practice, but I just call it research because it's quicker and it's shorter and easier. And it just gives you the general idea of what we were doing in the class. The class I had remote was communications. So that class, we did have a set time that we met on Zoom with our professor, and then she did the lecture. So it was just like a Zoom class. And then my 3 in-person class were Pathopharm 1, Psych, and Fundamentals. I loved my Pathopharm class like so much. Like, I know a lot of people do not like Pathopharm and they say it's like the hardest class you take in nursing school. I would say like for me it was one of like my easier class, and just like it came more intuitive to me a lot of times. And I guess I also just studied a lot for patho because I heard it's so hard, and I put in the work that I did the best in Pathopharm overall. But as a whole, like my first semester, I would say like I learned a lot. I also learned how to like really allocate my time and how to study in a way that was effective. Like I felt like I knew how to study going in, but I also like fine-tuned certain things while I was there that really helped me do well this semester. And overall, I did enjoy majority of my classes. Like I said, Pathopharm was definitely my favorite. I also enjoyed Fundamentals a lot. Fundamentals is really, as the name sounds, it is like the basics for every kind of like specialty, right? And I feel like we could have done a lot more with funds, but we focused on the big ones. Like we talked about like some Pathopharm things, we talked about some psych, we definitely talked about communications, you know, the different systems in the body and how it functions, and like surface level, like, you know, things that can go wrong with different organ systems in our body. So it was really a good class, and for that class I would say you need to remember your A&P because it's going to come back in funds and in patho a lot. Psych, learning about the different mental disorders and illnesses was very interesting and exciting, but I don't know, I just, maybe it's the way my professor did her exams that sometimes I would get tripped up, but overall I did still come out and do really well for psych. But it was one of my harder class. It's not something that came very easy to me, I would say, with psych. I think I would always get it down to 2 really good answer, and then like at the last time I would pick the second best answer, not the best, when it came to psych. Like in terms of like people, my classmates, I would say I get along well with most people. I always feel like you're not going to be friends with everyone, and that's okay. I'm fine with that. In terms of clinicals, I had 2 clinicals, one for fundamental, which was on a med-surg floor, and then for psych, which was on a psych inpatient floor at a hospital. For psych was pretty like boring in the sense that we didn't really do much. We talked to the patients and we got to see ECT, which is electroconvulsive therapy. So basically you're giving the patient a seizure. It's only approved for certain illnesses, not for all psych patients. But that was like the coolest part of being on the psych ward. That was pretty fun to watch and to see, and it does really help the patient. So it's not like they're just doing this just to do it. Like, you do see the difference in the patient. And with psych, the one thing I did like is the fact that the patients usually are there for like several weeks, sometimes months. So each time we will go back, we were actually able to see the same patient again and kind of see like the progress that they're making. So that was nice about psych. With my fundamentals clinical on the med-surg floor, we will go, and by the time we come back in 2 weeks, because it was like every other week, the patient that we saw is no longer there, so you don't get to that update, that progress, right? So that was like, I would say, one of the downside, but I got to see a lot of things and see the type of meds that we were learning about, like in use, like some of the conditions that we were learning about. We actually got to see patients who were having similar things and how they were being treated in the hospital, what type of medications they were on, and just like, you know, like all the basic things that you kind of need to know. We also got to practice doing our full head to toe assessment on a patient. Granted, you're never really probably going to do a full one, but we tried our best. That's all I have to say. It was a hot mess, but we tried our best, guys. Yeah, I sip some of my tea because I'm talking a lot. My throat is a little dry. But yeah, like clinicals were pretty good. Did enjoy clinicals, especially for funds. I did like both of the hospitals I was placed at. I was at NYP Columbia for psych, and I was at Mount Sinai Morningside for funds. Both are great hospitals. Like, I told myself going into this, like, I wanted to get a 4.0 like my first semester, like really set my GPA high. So like if I get a bad grade, like later on, like my GPA goes to like complete like trash, right? But I didn't get a 4.0, but I got pretty close to a 4.0. My GPA was a 3.94. So I got 1 A- and 4 A's. I got an A for Pathopharm, an A for Fundamentals, an A for Psych, an A for Communications, and then the A- in my research class, so EBP, Evidence-Based Practice. And when I tell you, I really thought I was going to get a B+ for EBP, so when I saw I got an A-, I was very happy with that A- because I genuinely thought I was going to get a B+, but I got the A-, which is really good, and I'm very happy about that. I really was trying to get a 4.0, like I said, but it didn't happen. And when I say the two classes, I really like worked and pushed for my grades. Psych, for sure. My first psych exam, I got like an 89 point something, like 0.7, like something, right? Like very not good, not terrible, but not good if you're really trying to get an A in the class. And I was disappointed in myself, but at the same time, I knew I studied so much more for Pathopharm than I did for psych, because I had both exams on the same day. And I'm like, I really knew that psych is hard, but I'm like, I thought it was gonna be a bit easier, but I knew Patho was gonna be like super, super hard. And I walked out my first Pathopharm exam feeling like a failure. Like, what did I even study? I felt like I did terrible on that exam. To come out and get like a 94 point something, and I was surprised. I was surprised when I saw my grade for psych and when I saw my grade for Patho for the first exam, because I thought I did good for psych, but I only got an 89 point something, right? And I thought I did terrible for Patho, but I got a 94 point something. So clearly something was off. Like, the test I was like confident in, yeah, that was easy. Is the test I did lower on. The test I was like, oh my god, I feel like a failure. Like, what the heck? But every single Patho exam I walked out of, I always feel like I walk out feeling like I don't know what just happened. But I kid you not, that 94 point something that I got for the first patho was my lowest grade for a patho exam, and we took 5, and I even did good on the better than that on the final for patho. But psych, I came out with the second exam getting 100, which is what really saved my grade. My second, third, and my final exam for psych are the ones I did really well on. My first exam, and we did a proctored exam for psych, which basically a proctored exam is like more like a simulated exam that's going to mimic what you would get on the NCLEX, which is the boards you take to become a nurse. So those questions mimic that, and I didn't do terrible on it. I did better than average, so I was very happy with that still, but I didn't do as good as I wanted to. And again, I was studying for other exams and not focusing too much on psych, and that was like my downfall. Like, I feel like I always underestimate psych and don't take it as seriously, which you should. But you know what, at the end of the day, I still did get an A for psych, so whatever. Like, it worked out in my favor, so I'm really happy about that. Last thing I will say, like, the biggest thing I struggled with in nursing school was like the anxiety around like testing. I do not like taking tests, and I do get testing anxiety, and because of that I push myself a lot to like study and really feel confident in the information before going into a test. And even if I know I've studied like super hard, like I still will get very anxious. Like, I don't know why, but this is something I've struggled with. But overall, we survived. And with nursing school, there was 2 skills check off we had during the semester. One was our head to toe assessment, so being able to do a full comprehensive head to toe. We had a specific time limit. You had to be able to do it within 30 minutes, and like, it was a lot. Thankfully, I passed the first time around. There were definitely people who did not and had to redo it. With our school, you do get multiple times. You get 3 tries to redo it. So they really are not trying to fail people on these things, because it's like just something you have to know and just have to like really practice. I will say for head to toe, I was practicing like on everybody and all the time. That's why when the day of when I went in there, I was really just like ready and confident about it. I did mess up, but the thing with the way my school does it, or the way my instructor did it, like, even though if you messed up, if you remember at the very end, you can go back and do it. So even though like there's kind of is an order, she said as long as you do it, she didn't care. So it could have been out of order. So I skipped 2 things when I was doing like the very beginning. I just did them at the very end. But other than that, I did well. I did not miss anything, which I'm happy about that. And then we did our skills check off for giving medication and injections. Again, just practicing what you need to say, what the different checks are. And it was not too bad. Like, for that one, I kind of didn't really study and practice as much. I kind of studied like very much like the night before, and I still was able to do it perfectly fine the day of. So yeah, it's not that bad. And yeah, like, I'm just so happy to be done with my first semester. And it was a lot. I will not say it was not a lot. It was. What I did to keep myself organized was, I think I mentioned on here, I created like my Google Calendar with all my dates and classes and stuff to help me keep track. I had it both on Google Calendar and on like my regular Apple Calendar. I also did create an Excel sheet that I listed every single assignment and exam date that I had throughout the semester, and then I will go back and check off that I completed them once I was done. I can even show you guys, pull it up right now, because like this is what, if this will focus. So this is the completed one, right? So all of those you see, they're all like grayed out because they're all completed. And no, I have it color coded, so each color is a different class. So I will be able to like go in real quick and know like, okay, if it's a blue, what class it is. If it's red, like red was Patho Pharm, green was Psych. And I had like it color coded on my Google Calendar with the same color. So red on my calendar was Patho-Pharm, and red on my Excel sheet for the assignments were also Patho-Pharm. So I would check my Excel sheet multiple times a day, like to see like what I have going on, like within the next week, next couple of days, which assignments were like priority based off of the fact that it's due in the next couple of days versus something that's due like a week from now. So that's what kept me organized. I'm planning on doing the same thing again for this coming semester. Once I have my syllabus for all of my classes, gonna go in, probably use the same doc or might create a different one. I'm debating which one would be like the best route to go. And I ended up sharing this with like my entire cohort because they were asking for it. Like I think I showed it to like a couple people and they were asking for it, and then word just got out, and then like I was just sharing it with everyone. Like I'm like, guys, I literally don't care, because some people feel like, oh, I don't want to share it, I spend so much time and effort making this for myself, you do it yourself. Like, why would I do that? Like if I have something and I can help someone make their life easier, I don't mind sharing it with them, right? And in terms of like my first semester, 100% like the school I chose. Like I'm happy with the school I picked because the faculty, the professors, for the most part, were so genuinely nice and caring. Like my Patho-Pharm, my funds, and my site professor, if I reached out to them, they were getting back to me with the swiftness, guys, like immediately. So that was nice. I've had like multiple things come up that I needed to talk to them about, and they responded like very quickly. I think I mentioned it before. If not, like I had an issue with my clinicals that needed to be switched because they had me placed at clinicals on a Saturday, which I couldn't do because I work weekends, and they were able to switch my clinicals to weekdays only. So I did appreciate that, and that was something like they got back to me like very quickly about. Like within the same day I emailed them, we were able to get that fixed and rectified. So love that. Even like we have like suggestions or issues and we bring it to the director or our professor, and they were able to like honestly like sit down and talk with us. Like we had them move a whole exam because we had 2 exams on one day, and we're just like, hey, we don't have an exam the following week, and it will be easier, we'll be able to study better if you, instead of putting both the exams on this date, you like put one this day and then one the following week. And they really was like, you know what, yeah, you guys, that does make sense, and there's no harm in doing that, right? So they were able to do that for us. Even like there are other things that we as a cohort did not like, that we voiced our opinion, we took a vote and we shared it with our director, like our feelings and our thoughts, and they actually took into consideration and made the change that we asked for. So to have people or like professors and the director who actually listen to us as the students, as the fact that we are paying for our education, to listen to our concerns and our complaints and hear us out and actually make the changes that we as a cohort want, that makes me feel so happy. And I'm so thankful that they are receptive to us and our complaints, and they actually listen to us. So with that, like I'm very happy with the fact that I chose the school that I chose, because not a lot of schools are like that. Some schools, they do not care about the actual students, and we're paying for our education. So if I'm paying all this money, the least you guys can do is hear us out. So yeah, overall my experience has been really good and really good so far. Like it genuinely has been, and I continue to have a very open mindset going into next semester, and just praying and asking God that everything works out the way it should and everything works out for my best interests, as always. So if you guys have any questions, any comments, please drop them down below, and I will be glad to answer them if I can, to the best of my abilities. And as always, I thank you guys for watching. I thank you guys for your support. I thank you to every subscriber who has stuck it out, even though I have not been consistent with posting lately. But I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. And I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye, guys.